All right, welcome back. Today we're going to complete the astrology series by diving deep into the sign of Pisces. So, let's get into it. All right, so before we jump in, I need to go over this one final time that when I'm talking about the sign of Pisces, I'm not talking about you specifically if your sun sign is Pisces. I'm merely talking about the qualities of the sign itself, the energy of it, because every single person has all 12 signs in their birth chart. It's just a matter of where the signs fall on the axis and then where the planets fall within the signs. That's going to determine everything. But commonly when people refer to themselves as a Pisces or a Leo, etc., it means that the sun was in that sign at the time of their birth. And if you were born with your sun in Pisces or have your rising sign as Pisces, then you surely will identify with a lot of these qualities that we're about to go over. Now, to what degree you'll identify with it is going to depend upon many things, such as the planets in that sign and their aspects to other planets, how well dignified they are, what house everything is in, whether it be the planets or the sign. That's why the horoscopes are such hit and miss. They only take the sun sign into account and not the entire chart. And that's at best. At worst, they just make them up. Okay? So, with that said, let's get into the sign of Pisces. Okay, so the first thing about the sign of Pisces that you need to know is that it is a water sign. Mutable water, in fact. Mutable means changeable, adaptable. Previously, we had the sign of Cancer with cardinal water, which is birth. Then we had Scorpio with fixed water, which is death. And now we have Pisces, which is mutable water, the time between death and rebirth, being between the worlds, which we'll talk about momentarily. But first we need to understand this mutable water that is Pisces. It's not like the pure water of Cancer, which is like spring water. It's not like the deep blue sea water of Scorpio. No, the mutable water of Pisces is like the muddy Mississippi. And all the mud that's mixed in with the water is everybody else's crap. No, because mutable water changes by absorbing things into it. Most notably, negative energy. Pisces is a negative energy sponge. It just soaks it right up. And then everybody feels great because their negative energy has been removed, except for the person with a strong Pisces in their chart, such as a rising sign or sun sign. They start feeling terrible. And this is a big part and percentage of understanding what Pisces is all about. Pisces plays a key role in removing people's negative energy. And in that regard, they can make great healers. But they do so by transference, meaning they take it into themselves. And people with strong Pisces placements, most of them won't even know that they're doing this because it just happens naturally. Imagine what they could do if they really try. And then they get stuck with all this negative energy inside of them and can't get rid of it. This is something that I know about firsthand because my rising sign is Pisces. And I have the ability to take people's negative energy from them and make them feel better. I would routinely remove people's headaches from them, especially like my girlfriends. But I couldn't get rid of it, so I just stopped doing it, at least purposefully. I still pick up people's negative energy just by being around them. It's a big reason why I can only take so much of people at a time. But even if you avoided a social life, you still have to go out to the store. You still have to go to places from time to time. And so you're going to end up getting people's funk on you. So it is critical that if you have a strong Pisces, to cleanse your energy and aura on the regular, or you are going to have problems. And I've gone over how to cleanse your energy on this channel before. I'm not exactly sure which video. I mean, I have hundreds. Perhaps somebody will remember and post it below in the comments. But I do know that I talk about it in Psalms, Magick of the Old Testament program, and I talk about the energy absorption of laying on hands in Revival, Magick for Health and Well-Being. But most people with a strong Pisces placement don't know about this. So they go around carrying a bunch of negative energy that isn't even their own. It's other people's garbage. And so Pisces is known as a sign of suffering. Seems like people with their rising sign or sun in Pisces are always suffering from something. And this is a large part of that. And they can be in a great deal of pain. Speaking from experience, I used to have, seemingly random pains throughout my entire body. At one point, my shoulder hurt real bad, but then that would stop hurting, and then my leg would start hurting, and then that would start, and then my neck would hurt, and then it would be my back, and then my foot. The negative energy just doesn't sit in one place. It moves throughout your aura and your body. I would always be going to the doctor, and the doctors would never find anything wrong with me. And then people start labeling you a hypochondriac, thinking you always have something wrong with you when you don't. But no, it's because you didn't clear your energy. That's what's wrong. You didn't get rid of all the funk that other people had put upon you. So, Pisces people, listen up. Cleansing your energy on the regular will relieve you of a lot of your suffering. Trust me on this. I don't have the random pains going throughout my body like I used to. And if I start, then I know that I'm overdue for cleansing my energy. You cannot get around it. You cannot just let it go. And I have to stress this because Pisces is excellent at letting things go. Because Pisces is also the sign of indecision and inaction. Now you know why I stress taking action so much. Because for much of my life, I did not. I'm actually an example of what Pisces can achieve if they apply themselves just a little bit. I know you've waited a long time for this video, but it's going to be one of the most life-altering videos you've ever watched. It's going to be worth the wait because I have the experience. I know all the problems of Pisces and their solutions. And because Pisces is indecisive and is not apt to take action of their own accord, then I will make it easy and tell you what you need to do, thereby giving you a starting point. Because many times Pisces doesn't know where to begin. And it's not because they're dumb or anything. I mean, Albert Einstein was a sun sign Pisces. They could be very intelligent. The problem lies with Pisces being an accumulation of all the other signs before it. And because it's this mix of the energies of all the other signs, it doesn't always know how to decide things because it wants to decide things as a Libra, or should I do things as a Scorpio, or should I be a Sagittarius, or it has no identity of its own other than this mix of energies that it calls Pisces. When we started in Aries, Aries knew who it was. Aries' motto is I am. It has a very clear identity. But now that we're at the end of the line with Pisces, Pisces doesn't know who it is anymore because it has been and still is everybody that's come before it. So there is a degree of identity confusion with Pisces, and this adds to its indecision. So when you combine this seemingly indecisive quality of Pisces with the fact that they like to sleep a lot, people can get the wrong idea and think that they're lazy. But they're not. They're actually working. They're doing their job. Again, Pisces is between the worlds, the astral. And so they sleep a lot so they can do their job. They're in the astral doing their work. Pisces are dreamers, and they're excellent at manifestation, not by doing mundane earthly things, but through astral magic, through the manipulation of the other side. As above, so below. So if they want things changed, they just go to the astral and they change it and they can come back and let it manifest down here. And I go over and talk about astral magic in the Laws of Magic Volume 2. This is where Pisces excels like no other, because this is the energy of Pisces. This is within its element. It's within its wheelhouse. Many people view Pisces as being a weak sign, being a water and feminine sign. And physically, Pisces does have some challenges. And clearing your energy regularly will alleviate some of that. But Pisces is very strong spiritually. And that's where it makes up for its lack of physicality. And we'll get more into the spiritual side of Pisces in a moment. The Laws of Magic Volume 2 is the direct sequel and continuation of the original Laws of Magic series, which included lessons 1 through 50. The Laws of Magic Volume 2 picks up right where we left off at lesson 51 through 100. After the original Laws of Magic series was completed, there were many things that I had thought about that I wish I had added to the course. That's what Volume 2 is. It's all the things that I had thought about and wish I had included in the original series after it had been released. The Laws of Magic is essentially the do's and don'ts of magic. It's all the things that you need to do or not do in order to have a successful magical practice. So if your magic is having difficulty manifesting, odds are you're not adhering to one or more of the laws of magic. And Volume 2 is the second half of those laws. You can get the Laws of Magic Volume 2 and other Mind and Magic programs over at mindandmagic.com today. Now, because Pisces consists of all the energies of the signs before it, they also acquire the talents of those signs as well. Pisces is typically very multi-talented. They do a whole lot of things really well. They are the proverbial jack of all trades of the zodiac. But even with all of that talent, they find it impossible to choose between them to pick something to go into and do. All the energies of the signs before them cancel each other out, so they're left again being indecisive and inactive. Because for them to choose one talent over others would be like to give up the others, which is part of its multi-identity, so to speak. So it's not that Pisces is lazy. It's not like they don't have enough energy. They have too much energy. They have too much going on. And it ends up becoming a jumbled mess of confusion, which leads to indecisiveness and inaction, at least in this physical world. They'd much rather go to sleep and do their work in the astral. And this is another part to this as well, where Pisces is so multi-talented and has so many options that they don't want to get locked down into just one thing. They want to try them all. And then once they try and master that thing, they get bored with it and they move on to something else. I'm certainly guilty of this myself. I mean, the fact that I'm still doing magic and teaching it here on YouTube shows how much it means to me. This is probably the longest I've stuck with anything in my entire life. You know, back before I did magic, I played a lot of video games. I was a big arcade retro gamer growing up. Used to always go to the arcade and play Galaga, Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, all the old 70s and 80s stuff. And then, of course, when console gaming got big, I played a lot of that. And I still like video games. I just don't have the time for them anymore. They can be big time wasters. But way back when, I entered an international contest for video game design, and I never designed anything before. And there were all kinds of categories to the contest. And I won first place in a level design, creating a level map for this specific game, beating out everyone globally, including people who actually worked in the industry. That's a pretty big accomplishment right out of the gate. And it could have been a very promising and well-paying career for me. But because I had done it already and mastered it, I had no interest in it anymore. And that's the last I ever designed anything for video games. I had already climbed that mountain. So this can be a very big problem for Pisces because it wants to do it all. And it has all the talent to do it. But once they've done it, they need to move on to the next. And you cannot be successful in this world unless you start focusing on a specialty. Material success comes from providing service. And how are you going to provide that service if every day you're doing something different? If you're not sticking with one thing? So that's a big issue for Pisces, finding something that they're good at, which is most everything, that they wouldn't mind doing again and again. And so for a large portion of people with strong Pisces, they're going to gravitate towards being mystics and spiritualists, as a general umbrella term. You can most certainly consider what I'm doing to be under that umbrella. But it need not be magic or the occult. It could very well be Orthodox religion as well. But whatever it is, it's going to have some sort of mystic or spiritual side that Pisces gravitates towards. But whatever it is that Pisces ends up choosing to do, that they can stand to do repeatedly, the advice here is to stick with it. You can always do the other things that you're talented and interested in your spare time if you have any. The challenge for Pisces is to realize that doing one thing for their service to the world is not necessarily giving up all the other things that they're good at. In fact, Pisces may be able to incorporate more than one thing into what they're doing. It's a Piscean strength. For example, I've already gone to school for television and radio and voiceover work. So I already had that kind of background before getting into YouTube, which now I'm talking about my love of magic and the occult. Over the years, I've honed my Photoshop skill to do nice artwork for my programs. I'm also a musician, vocalist, and songwriter. So when I need break from doing the lessons, sometimes I'll throw out an old song of mine instead and release that. I find ways to incorporate the things that I'm good at. I've built 3 computers. That's the heart and soul of my business. Without my computer, I can't do anything. So anybody who says that one person can't do it all doesn't know Pisces. Pisces can do it all if they choose to. The Piscean person that combines their multi-talents into one singular purpose and service for others is an unstoppable force. But they have to stick with it, especially those with their placements in the first decan of Pisces, which corresponds to the 8 of Cups, which is the card of giving up before you've completed the task. You got to stick with things. You have to see them through. I can't even begin to tell you how many abandoned projects I've started. But these days it's more of a matter of time. I have to do my regular work and fulfill my obligations and then move the ball forward a little bit on the other things as I find the time. It's just that there's so many of them, it's going to take forever. But that's what happens when you abandon a lot of projects. They end up stacking up. So abandoning other projects before they're completed and even abandoning other people is something to watch out for with Pisces, because Pisces is the sign of solitude. Now, sometimes this is by choice, choosing to be alone in their spiritual pursuits, or not wanting to be around other people because they don't want to absorb that negativity. But other times it's not by choice. There are times when circumstances are just going to keep you apart from other people. In my own life, I'm alone a great deal of the time, because I work from home and there's nobody else here during that time. And people say, well, I'd love to do that. That sounds fantastic. But yet the vast majority of people couldn't even handle the lockdowns during the pandemic. After just a few weeks, they started climbing the walls. Most people can't handle the solitude. Pisces can. In fact, Pisces thrives in solitude. Understand that the pandemic and the lockdowns changed my life very little. I think the only thing it changed was that I now had to wear a mask going into a store. That's really it. So sometimes circumstances such as your work are going to put Pisces in solitude or places of solitude, because Pisces rules over places of solitude such as hospitals, jails or prisons, asylums, those places of solitude and suffering. These are also, non-coincidentally, the most haunted places. If you watch any of the paranormal shows, they love trying to get their EVPs at old asylums or prisons no longer in use. Those tend to be the hot spots for paranormal activity because they're between the worlds. They're Piscean in nature. They have that energy of Pisces, solitude and suffering. So places of solitude, hospitals, asylums, prisons are all Piscean. And speaking of prisons, Pisces views its own body as a prison. Pisces is always wanting to get to the astral and do its work over there, which is views as more real than reality. So what does the body matter if it's not real? Pisces thinks of itself as trapped in its body, and that's why there's always a component of escapism with Pisces. A lot of people want to escape those places of solitude. Prison or jail people want to escape. Asylums people want to break out. And even hospitals, you can't leave until you're discharged. So there is this component of escapism with the sign of Pisces, which is going to lead us into the dark side of Pisces. Because the escapism that Pisces tends to do can be very detrimental to its health, both physical and mental, or even its very life. For example, Pisces is also the sign of addiction. Drugs, alcohol, both are a form of escapism, not wanting to deal with this reality. Pisces is also the sign of self-undoing, taking one's own life. Remember, Pisces often views the body as a prison that they want to escape. It's escapism to the extreme. Before we move on, I want to give a shout out to those top tier patrons and supporters whose generosity is making a tremendous difference on this channel. Ahmad Rashid, Andrew Baukamp, Bar Dan, Flutterless9, J Dodge, Yadiva Montalegre, Jeff Montes, Justin Sanders, Liam Niedrich Jr., Matthew Della Garza, Mike Pierce, Nick Giacara, Rafet Kanovic, Sky Bister, Wendy Pantages, Justin Mai, Kevin Johnson, and a few who wish not to be named. They know who they are. Thank you so much for your generous support. It really does make a world of difference. If you're not a supporter yet, consider joining our inner circle. For only $1 a month, you can get early access to videos like this before they're on YouTube. And for only $5, you can also get the extra monthly Filth Life video. And top tier patrons get a monthly ritual performed for them, complete with having their own candle personalized by having their name carved into it, and then dressed with oil. So join us over at Patreon and Subscribestar for all this and more, or YouTube memberships if you're just interested in the extra videos. Again, thank you all so much. Now let's get back to it. So addictions and self-undoing tendencies are part of the dark side of Pisces. Some other dark side Piscean traits are being depressed and moody, self-pity, so used to being in pain that they actually start enjoying it, being addicted to pain, being indolent, or at least perceived to be lazy, being unrealistic because their heads are always in the clouds, they're always daydreaming, always off somewhere else in the astral. Fanaticism, taking their spirituality to the extreme. Pisces can't find its own identity, so they find it in God. Something I know all too well with my own father doing that. Being too submissive, wishy-washy, and this stems from not being able to make decisions or take actions, so they just bend to the will of others. And this makes Pisces the target of being victims of scams. I don't want to say that Pisces is naive or gullible. Sometimes they are, but a lot of times they're just so compassionate and they don't care about the material. I mean, what is money if reality isn't real? So they don't care. They're like, well, they can use it more than I can. So you combine that with them being one of the most compassionate signs. Pisces is very compassionate. If you ever wondered how someone like myself can end up taking care of an entire feral cat colony, it's because Pisces is so compassionate. But what Pisces needs to understand and learn is that many people will take advantage of that compassion. The ads of save the children, feed the children, rescue the animals for only $5.99 a month. You can sponsor one while they show the most destitute pictures of these animals in horrible conditions. These are targeted towards Pisces because Pisces is quick to help. It sees that and doesn't want to see anything suffer. And if all I have to do is give up this money that isn't real anyway, then I can do that. Now, the Pisces in me wants to help, but the Capricorn in me says, well, the cameraman's standing right next to this animal. Why doesn't he help it? Well, you're just going to take a picture of it suffering and leave it there? That's all you're going to do? And I'm not saying that those ads are total scams, because it does take money to run those kind of operations, a large rescue operation like that. There are legitimate organizations that want to help, but there's also a lot of fakes, and Pisces isn't going to be able to tell the difference. There are a lot of YouTube channels, especially foreign ones, where they're like, oh, we rescued this dog from the well. And it's a video of them pulling a dog up from a well, but they're the ones who put it down there in the first place. And they did it for views because they know a lot of people are into those kind of videos, especially those with strong Piscean placements. Now, Pisces wouldn't deceive someone like that, but that doesn't mean that others won't. Telemarketers and robocall scams are geared towards old people and Pisces. Pisces has a difficult time saying no. It's something it really needs to learn. Pisces wants to be liked by everyone because it is everyone. It's all the other signs that came before it. But Pisces also needs to realize that it cannot save everyone, especially when Pisces can't even save itself. In fact, it's so bad at saving itself that it is the sign associated with self-sacrifice. Now, it's quite a noble thing to jump on the hand grenade and sacrifice yourself to save others. But unfortunately, with Pisces, the motivation and reasons for the self-sacrifice isn't always that clear. So not only do they face the consequences of that sacrifice, but it didn't help anybody else anyway. Jesus Christ is a Piscean deity. He sacrificed himself on the cross for your sins. But the world keeps sinning. And I know Christians will argue that, yes, he did in fact save a lot of people. He certainly certified himself into legend, because there weren't any other deities that come along like him that just self-sacrificed, that were just brutally crucified. All the other gods before him displayed strength and power, where the strength of Christ was compassion for others, forgiveness, love. Christianity is a very age of Pisces religion. That's where we get the symbol of the Jesus fish from. There's a lot of stories with Jesus and fish, teaching people to be fishers of men, feeding a multitude of people with the fish. Before, in the age of Aries, God was a little bit more warlike, and they had to make offerings to him by sacrificing lambs and rams, which was symbolic of the sign of Aries. When Moses came down from the mountain and saw the people worshiping the golden calf, he got angry because they're not in Taurus any longer. They shouldn't be worshiping this golden calf. We're not in the age of Taurus anymore. We're in the age of Aries. So the age of Pisces saw Christianity and Orthodox religion, but now we're on that cusp where we've been shifting into the age of Aquarius, and the power of Orthodox religion in the church is starting to wane. So who knows what form the next age religions are going to take, but rest assured that Pisces will be still seeking its spirituality. Pisces is associated with tragedies, stories that don't have such happy endings. Happy endings are more associated with Leo. So any ending where things don't come together for the characters and have a happy ending is associated with Pisces. Pisces has to leave things undone so that the next sign, Aries, can come along and have something to rescue us from and be a hero. For if Aries doesn't have something to save us from, if it doesn't have a cause, then Aries wouldn't be a hero, it would be a bully. But just because a story doesn't have a not-so-happy ending doesn't mean it don't have Piscean qualities. Alice in Wonderland is very Piscean in nature. The Life of Pi is very much a Piscean movie. And even the television series Preacher, one of my favorite series, simply for its absurdity, because Pisces doesn't take itself too seriously, has a lot of Piscean qualities to it. Half the series is them looking for God, and searching for God is something that Pisces tends to do. Pisces is a dual sign, as two fish tied by the tail, one swimming up trying to find God, the other swimming down towards its own self-destruction. The planetary ruler of Pisces is Jupiter traditionally, and co-ruled by Neptune in modern astrology after it was discovered. Neptune is the god of the sea, and Pisces views us as all part of the same sea, the same ocean. We're individual water drops now, but when we pass on, we return to the collective sea, the collective ocean, waiting to be brought up as individual drops again. Pisces is very poetic. It rules over poetry and dancing, the expression of emotions through dance. The parts of the body ruled by Pisces are the feet and the immune system, and its tarot card is the moon. And that is an overview of the sign of Pisces, which concludes this series on the astrological signs. I know it's been a long time, so I do appreciate you sticking with it. Please like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Leave your Piscean tales in the comments below. Check out my social media, links to follow, and I will see you next time. Take care.